take a left turn by the old house. Count the telephone poles, and when you get to your favorite number, try not to care. And the people cried out, hey, and the crowd sang out, hey, and the boys at the bar shouted out, hey. Let's do it one more time. And the people cried out, hey, and the crowd sang out, hey, and the boys at the bar shouted out, hey, hey. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you, Wakefield.
This is for posterity.
This is a setup.
It is.
In 1982 or 83.
1984. Was it 2008 or something?
Oh, it would be, I'm not sure. The years sync.
2005 peut-être?
I remember the day very clearly. November 26, 2011.
Wow.
Yep, that
Good
was
for
the
you.
date. Plus, there's a plaque out there that tells us the date. So, you know, that reminds me too.
Je suis pas mal persuadé que tout a débuté au Black Sheep Inn, avec des petites réunions et par la suite, probablement des gros rassemblements où on a fait des campagnes de financement. Puis, je ne sais pas comment ils ont eu de fundraising concert au Black Sheep, mais ils en ont eu pas mal.
Bill Gonzalez was the counselor at the time. He was very interested in the library. And he came in and he said to me, well, this is a small job, you can do it. And it's amazing how you can do what people say you can do.
When I joined the community, when Robert and I joined the community, we were involved in doing activities, and the community center at that time was like a container.
Yeah, because I think the part of this is they're interested in the story of how it all started.
Yeah,
Right,
tell
well,
them about the
we're
shack. Tell
commemorating-
them what the rec center was like before this was built.
Well, Rec Center was not spelled R-E-C Center, but it was spelled W-R-E-C-K Center.
And it was a bit of a wreck, but nevertheless it attracted kids and adolescents. And I remember the old picnics we used to have at the community center way back when people would make pies and bring salads, and we would really enjoy celebrating Canada Day together.
It was a pit to hang out in. We had a stage that had holes through it. We eventually got a youth center that had a decent facility to it, but like our community center was literally, you could walk in any door and just change your skates and go skate on the rink, or, it was a bit of a dive. It was a shack is what we called it, pretty much. I can even remember the code on the door.
Well, I mean, it had, on the top floor, it had a canteen and a room where you could have dances. And downstairs on the first floor was the changing room for the hockey players, and a storage room, and they had the windows looked out over the skating rink, and so you could go and play hockey and get cold and then come in and get warm. And
It sounds charming.
A need was identified, based on the expanding population, that we needed to have a center of some kind. At that time, we were doing we had a skate park sort of deal there, and it wasn't sanctioned by the municipality, and they're always taking the stuff away, and heaving asphalt. It was just kind of a decrepit situation. So it was really a community kind of grassroots movement that developed, and it gained momentum as it went along.
I guess to start, I would say that I owe a lot to Phil Cohen. He was always a master recruiter. When I first showed up in this area, I ran into him in the old Shieric, I guess was the little restaurant down here next door to the center. Phil, I just got talking to him. He picked up on me right away and started interviewing me, and found that I had a theater background in all kinds of arts and radio, TV, film, all that sort of thing. And he said, "Oh, well, you'll want to be part of our Dragon Fest," which he was organizing. So he was just sussing me out to plug me in to what I could do within the community.
And Robert was on the board for 7 years, and he was very much involved in defending the possibility of a cultural space here. And we, as Theatre Wakefield, did things like the DVD, It Takes a Village to Make a Poet, where we took 30 of, I produced it, we took 30 of Phil Cohen's poems and animated them. And Klaus LaRoche, who's here tonight, who is working in technical here, he did an animation, a cartoon animation of one, and all kinds of people, 30 of the poems were animated, and then we sold the DVD to make money to raise for the center. We needed to sell 1,000 memberships. This is in a community with 400 houses?
I walked from the flashing light all the way to the Chelsea border and all the way back, and I went to every house.
Did you get much money?
I probably got memberships from, I'd say 85%. We were trying to get people to donate $1,000 for the center, and I got 8 people or something like that to donate $1,000. I was very proud of that. That was much harder than the memberships.
Yeah, but you got about 800 memberships you signed up or something.
Oh, I don't think it was that.
And how did you do that again?
She had a goal of 1,000.
To sign up 1,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did?
Yes.
The good thing Ruth remembers all that. I don't remember that, but I do remember that getting $1,000 for the center was not all that easy. But, if you pick the right people, then it worked.
And you are persuasive.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
You're
like a dog with a bone.
I think that's enough from me.
Je me rappelle d'un voyage de notre équipe de Black Sheep, justement. On était à Lake Placid et j'ai fait une rencontre extraordinaire lors du tournoi là-bas. J'ai rencontré l'ancien maire de Lake Placid, James Rogers, qui lui a fait partie de l'équipe qui a organisé les Jeux olympiques en 1980. Et j'avais eu toute une discussion avec ce monsieur-là. J'étais dehors, je me rappelle, devant un restaurant, puis pendant que je parlais avec, il était toujours en train de faire ça. Le monde faisait salut, puis on faisait salut. Put. Là, j'ai dit, t'es qui, toi? Who are you? So he told me about his background and all. And a week after, I came, I'm back home and I'm thinking, I'm going to invite this guy to give a presentation to the community and explain how, a small place, a small village can organize and realize a big project. Like they did the Olympics. It's Lake Placid. I figured we could do a community center.
Well, it's all about money, really, essentially. So it was getting, the first step in getting sort of massive grants to build the place was to get municipal buy-in. And at that time, there was a lot of sort of competing interest in the municipality for funds, for on the other side of the mountain, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just sort of through perseverance, so many meetings, council meetings, et cetera, to get that municipal buy-in to support the project, because you cannot go to the second, third levels, provincial, federal, without municipal buy-in. So that was a big hurdle. After that, it was simply just lobbying politicians for money, you know, because money is what makes buildings. People make them. It takes the drive of the people to do it, but it also takes the cash. So that was the struggle.
Eventually, I got caught, and and it was partly Phil again, because next thing I knew, I was canvassing for $20 donations from all the people in the area to help put this place together.
Each generation in a community goes and does things, and the people that you're talking to today did things in the past, and now there's a new generation. Amy is part of the new generation, and so that's the really wonderful thing, is that the torch is carried.
I love you call me the new generation.
Puis le skatepark, ben ça vient de loin, ça aussi. Ça vient avec l'idée d'une gang de jeunes de Wakefield, incluant Phil Gray, que je peux me rappeler. Eux, ils ont commencé à faire d'autres campagnes de financement. Ils voulaient avoir un skatepark. Ça a pris une dizaine d'années afin de ramasser pour eux un bon fonds pour être capable d'avoir des investissements des gouvernements et tout.
What would you call it? You know, it's sort of lobbying efforts, along with the board and Amanda Dexter, another one in there. Super strong personalities, lots of experience. Just a really great team, you know.
We had lots of talks. There were all the disparate organizations that were sort of using this crappy building that we had. And the youth center had its own trailer, and that's where I was from. Like, I was on the board of the youth center. And then the rec association had this horrible place where people could change their skates. Theatre Wakefield was putting on their productions at Logue in front of poles. And the library was where Blue Barn is now, and that was not a big enough space for them. So we all came together and said, okay, let's form a group, one board, and we will be the Wakefield Community Center, even though it hadn't been built and we had no approval, we had nothing. So that's what we did.
I stayed away from being involved in any of the original board stuff. I mean, that was for people like Gwen Shea and Steve and all that gang who were part of the original board, the Rooneys and those people who were so influential at the very beginning. The center wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for the Rooneys, too, because they made sure that we got at least the compromise between a theater with a gym floor, so we could put on shows and stuff like that, because that's what our company, Theatre Wakefield, was trying to do.
And Theatre Wakefield raised thousands of dollars to make sure we could buy the risers, to make sure we could do various other things and make it work as a stage, a theater space, as opposed to a gymnasium.
Now, there's always been disagreements about, what this should be. People who are only sports to have no sense of arts and culture per se, and why have a theater sort of thing. But what people forget is that there was a time when theater was bigger than sports, when theater was a reflection, was holding up the mirror to society and telling us this is what we are, and then allowing us to laugh or cry or whatever because of that.
We came to a compromise, over about a year's time in the design, and it worked out quite well.
It's taken them 6 years, but people from Wakefield will finally see a new community center. MP for Pontiac, Lawrence Kennan, has announced the good news.
The Government of Canada and the Government of Quebec will each put in or contribute 1/3 of the project, along with the cooperative, for a total of $5.6 million $200. The federal government's portion to that is $1,850,000.
Alors évidemment, comme je le disais précédemment, ce sont des investissements qui vont permettre aux jeunes et aux moins jeunes de bénéficier d'un équipement un petit peu plus adéquat. On l'espère. Je regarde les architectes and I'm happy to see that there's wood in this building.
La Pêche is a very good example of how many dreams we can realize together.
So what's the next step? I asked the architect, Chris Simmons.
There's a little bit of tweaking, but the main part now, what we have to do is just get our team of engineers and consultants, organized to get everything done in the next 10 or 12 weeks. That's the big job for us.
How do you feel about the new community center?
I feel great about it, and I feel especially glad about today's announcement that sees the community center move to the next phase, which is construction, essentially. After completion of working drawings and tender, we're going to make this building a reality. So I feel thrilled about today's announcement.
Are there any other events or stories that you have from the center?
Not really. Like, I wish I could say, all that time. Really. I don't really have that.
And then, when we got the building built, we did the inaugural event, which was Dreamwalker by Ian Tamblyn, performed by Theatre Wakefield performers. And we had 6 teenagers perform in this play. It was dynamite. We sold out every night. It was fantastic. And people still talk about it, and it changed the lives of the teenagers who were involved.
This community center means a lot to this village. For the people that are coming in, they have no idea what we went through to get an outstanding facility like this. And you won't see another community center like this. They're normally just square buildings with not a lot of character. Whereas here, it's a state-of-the-art facility, and it's warm and welcoming and stunning. So, yay.
Of course, the contractors they were late, of course, getting out of this place. We were trying to get in to do the opening ceremony and the first play, which was that wonderful play from Ian Tamblyn, Dreamwalker, with we used all the kids from our local kids who were in our film camp, and we put that all together. But they had just finished the floor in here, and the vapors were horrible. Larry Laxdell, Claude Laroche, myself, and I can't remember who all else, we're rewiring all the ceiling, putting in all the cabling and everything for all the new lights, the borrowed lights from the NAC that they had since 1969 when they opened. But I don't know how many brain cells I lost because of the vapor coming off of that floor. It was unbelievable.
I ordered the wall board, got in the electricians, did everything for it, and it turned out very well, didn't it?
Very well,
and
indeed.
For the opening of the new library, we had the school children's chorus. They all stood up on we'd gotten new shelves, and they stood on the top, bank on the thing and sang with Mary Nodwell leading them. And yeah, it was very exciting.
It was very difficult. I don't know how the Chelsea people do it, but it was very difficult to flood the rink because we had to have like a hose system going from where the rink was across the road into the river, and like kind of do it like the old way. And the worst part was when you were done at the end. It was taking ages, you know, to just bring back the hose and make sure the water was out so it doesn't freeze and everything. And long story short, there, like Harold, like didn't like that year, and basically that's because of that situation that happened. Because you know Harold ended up being done with the rink, so I ended up like replacing him as a rink guy. So Harold worked hard too at the rink for many years. Him and his wife Tani. And all of the youth at the time, they were counting on Harold for lots of things. And he was definitely part of the history of making this happen too.
You can't just expect, you know, the village to light up when you appear. You have to go and work with people. Like now people work in the library here, and they used to come to the, as we did, to the...
Put on a chicken suit.
One of the most important things for me is that in 1999 we invented Dragonfest, which is the winter carnival, and we had to do something interesting. So the publicity said that we were going to have trying to get the world's longest snow dragon and beat out this mythical city in China. And this hat, of course, is a part of the snow dragon. That's my chicken hat, and that was invented as part of the Dragonfest and the things that went on.
It was a very long meeting, and so at the end of it, I said to Louis, like, well, maybe at the next meeting I'll chair the meeting, and he said, sure, you can chair the meeting, and then 15 years later, I'm still doing Dragonfest. I mean, it's sort of that sense of like, wait a minute, was I trapped into this, or did I go willingly? You know, and that's the way volunteerism is sometimes. It's sort of like, oh, was it the party mix? Was it the 6-pack of beer? Was it Louis Romprey's sparkly eyes? I don't know. Maybe it was a mixture of all of those things.
Now, several years ago, 2014, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was just about, heading into its final years before the report in 2016. And what I noticed in this village is that not many people knew about the process of truth and reconciliation. And so I knew several people on the board, asked them what other people are doing in other communities, and they said, well, what they were doing is doing information sessions. So I thought about that for a while, and I thought, well, we're going to have an information session here as well, but it's not going to be your, chairs one behind the other, or a classroom and lots of paper and stuff like this. And we wanted to establish a forum whereby people could hear what people were thinking about what is reconciliation and what, in the end, you're going to do about it. I considered the 94 calls to action is way too much for any one brain to think about. So I asked him if he would kindly consider helping me make some mobiles. Mark and I put together the big hoops as part of that mobile. There were 5, and from those 5 big hoops, we hung those from the ceiling in the big hall. All of those birch bark discs represented a call to action. You can pick one, anyone. Pick one, anyone, and work on it.
We really owe a debt of gratitude, not only to all the people that wanted to have this center happen, wanted this place to be but especially I would say to Gwen Shea. She was wonderful as a board member. She worked so hard with the contractors and with the municipality and everybody. And then as a opening general manager, she was a superb person. And we're very sorry for her loss, but I'm so glad that we've named this space for her too. So
the skate park is awesome. It's largely the reason why I moved out here from Ottawa, but I've also skated like across most of North America and parts of Asia and stuff. And I don't know, like this is like a super fun park. It actually holds on its own. And super lucky to have this in our backyard.
We're a drop-in center, so kind of our mandate is providing a safe space for youth and ages kind of 9, 10 to 17 to be able to come and just be together, and we provide food and crafts if they want to. We've got some great programs with electronics and different things. We have computers set up, we've got tablets set up, we have a gaming console. So really the idea is for them to be able to come in and be able to access different resources. If they need help with anything, our staff is trained in mental health, and we're able to talk through a lot of different, things that kind of come up for them. So really the nights are varied because it depends on the teens or the youth that show up. Grades 5 and 6 on the Thursday night is usually a little bit more organized with like crafts. We have organized crafts and different activities that are kind of pre-set up, but with the teens it's really just up to them what they want to do. Most of the time they just want to come in, hang out, eat, and skateboard.
Something that we did with the Way was we did Halloween dances, community Halloween dances. So Burnside, huge for trick-or-treating all through the village. But come 8 o'clock on a Friday and Saturday night, when Halloween was those nights, everybody just goes home when there's so much more you can do on Halloween. So the Way and the Center joined together, and we held a dance 2 years in a row. And it was $5 to get in, $10 a family. I forget how we split the funds, but anyways, we both made way for a great night. Local friend of mine, Amber Duncan, DJ'd both years. Costumes galore, donated prizes from all throughout the village just for costume prizes and so on and so forth. And we must have had probably 300 people here each year, and it was a blast.
Les 2 dernières années durant le COVID, on avait le droit d'avoir la patinoire ouverte, mais il fallait quand même la maintenir. Puis là, avec les couvre-feux, là, c'était un petit peu plus compliqué. Mais la municipalité nous a donné des laissez-passer pour moi et mon équipe, pour prendre soin de la patinoire, après les heures de couvre-feu. Quand ils ont annoncé ça, là, ça m'a pris peut-être comme 2 jours. It's about 2 days it took me to figure out that, hey, with a curfew and a pass from the municipality to go work after hours, I'm going to have lots of help from from my friends. So each time I would put that's the last 2 years. Each time I would put a message, okay, we need to work at the ring tonight. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody was responding. I had to say to a few of them, okay, no, we're enough. Okay, that's good. So not to say that I'm looking for another curfew next year, but it sure does help.
I'm Irene Richardson. I happen to be president of the community center at this time. But more importantly, I'm a member of the Wakefield Golden Age Club for the past 10 years. And so is Phil, by the way. Phil's been with us all to this journey. And about, I guess it's 8 years ago, Carol Faulkner came up with the idea of having a morning coffee, a senior cafe here at the center. And I must thank Sally Swan for stepping forward. She was president, and she still is the president. And she's here every Monday morning. She welcomes us. She shares her sunshine with us, right? And if you're 55 plus, come and join us. We have coffee, play cards, go to the library, play pickleball.
Did you know that this is the beginning of pickleball, that Irene actually invented pickleball? And it's spread throughout the world now.
Throughout the world.
And that's what I found so marvelous about the center, is that it just opened doors constantly. No matter who you were there, you're always greeting either a newcomer, an old friend, or someone that maybe you could help out doing something. Was great access to volunteer work. Oh, we need a bartender. Oh, we need someone to help with this. Oh, could you make some chili for our bake sale or whatever? It's a really wonderful place to meet people. And often in the lobby, people would just come and they were just having a little meeting of one sort or another, using the Wi-Fi there, interacting and just enjoying the beauty of the center and the interaction of all the people that were there as well.
So it's coming up to 32 years. And I always say you have to carry me out of the library because I'll never quit. Never.
We've got our partnerships with Theatre Wakefield and the Recreation Association, the Youth Association, and the library, but we need to make sure that, and we need to figure out how that's going to work out, working into the future. But at the same time, how could we possibly become a cultural hub of sorts, which the MRC and other people are suggesting to us to do?
Well, yes, I think we should be that. But we can be all the things. We can still be a community center as well as a cultural center. And how great is that? I mean, what great community center to go to that's also features all of these great things that are going on. I would envision that. That would be my, I think that, and that suits everybody. And it's a win-win if we can get to that. And, that's what I hope to try and do. And at least put in motion. Mm-hmm.
This place was built to have Friday morning playgroups for moms and dads with tiny kids. It was built for our senior mornings coffee group. It was built for summer camps and theater productions and movies. It was built to serve our community. So overall and end all, I'd love to see it stay that way.
But it was also a way to put our stamp, a cultural stamp on the building and its environment. And that is really, to me, always been the thing, is that the community center cut new ground. It did outdoor films. We took everything on. And we did it as a group. We did it as a team. And that's really, to me, that's what the community center is all about.
The wild river flows, I will follow, northbound with the geese on high. I will follow the sound of their calling high. We'll sleep where the white pine sigh. Listen to the white pine sigh. I will suffer the darkness of winter. I will walk with the flowers in spring. I will rest in the heart of this cold soul. I will listen as the blackbird sings. Listen to the blackbird sing. I will build a house in the mountains. The comfort of your care I will not hide. Where the wild river flows, I will follow. You be by my side. Please be by my side. Where the wild river flows, I will follow. Northbound with the geese on high, I will follow the sound of the call. See where the white pine sighs. Listen to the white pine sigh. Listen